Hi Taurus, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Taurus, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, for your key to the week this week, you have the Devil card, right? Now, in a lot of ways, this is one of those cards that when it shows up, people are like, oh my God, what's going on? This isn't to freak you out, but this week you are going to have to get a handle on maybe some of your self-sabotaging behaviors or tendencies, right? With the Devil card, in a lot of ways, this is where we have given away our power or we are addicted to a substance, a person, a situation, and you have this as infusing the entire week. This actually feels like the message this week is just to get out of your own way, right? What is it that you are overindulging in? Is it your thoughts? Is it your feelings? Is it a substance? Is it a person? This week you have to find the courage or the guts within yourself to remove or to release whatever it is that you're doing to set yourself back. For your actions and options card, you have the Nine of Cups, right? This is beautiful. So in a lot of ways, you have a certain wish that you are trying to fulfill. And the fact that you've got this Devil card here, maybe you're saying to yourself, I will achieve this at all costs, even if that means running myself into the ground. Well, what's the point? Because then how do you enjoy the wish that could be fulfilled? This week, you're really being asked to pay attention to where there is an easier way, right? Where you can actually get what you want and enjoy it. It may not be in the time frame that you're hoping for. And that's kind of what this feels like in this actions and options thing. It's like, well, you know, I can have this sooner, so I'm just going to put everything all in it right now. But then again, like I say, what's the point in burning yourself out to have something if you're not going to be able to enjoy it? That's going to create some sort of resentment about the thing that you've created or manifested into your life. So this week you got to be a bit more savvy. All right. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Nine of Swords. So that's two nines now. Two nines represents the energy of receipt. Now, when we talk about receipt, we're talking about all kinds, right? So this could be, this week you could find yourself very reflective. Maybe you're going into the past. Maybe you are having a bit of a dip of some sort. Maybe this week you are allowing your mind to do that thing that it does where it brings everything up from the past and it makes you look at it in minute detail and it magnifies how you feel about that thing. So this week, when it comes to your communications, especially because you've got the Devil card here, this could be a very challenging week for the way that you communicate with people. This could be a week where the word double entendre comes to mind, right? So now, yes, that actually means like a double meaning. It roughly translates really as an innuendo, but I actually think it's a bit more serious than that. This week, when it comes to some of the conversations that you're having, especially important ones, it's going to be really important to read between the lines, right? You need to look and see where somebody's actually giving you the finger underneath what it is that they're really saying. Underneath what they're actually saying, you need to see that there's another thread running in there, right? So this week, be very, very conscious when you're having conversations that are important, especially because you yourself seem to be giving yourself a hard time. And that makes me wonder if maybe you will accept certain things from people because it's like, well, you know, if I'm already in that space, then I'm more likely to accept things from people that aren't necessarily in my best interests. It's probably the most long-winded way of putting it, but I hope you get what I mean. For those of you that work for somebody else, this Nine of Swords with the Devil card, it's almost like, you know, and I touch wood on this, it's almost like this week, even if it's not necessarily the case, you might feel like it's, you know, just one of those weeks where you're like, I just can't do anything right. you know, and we all go through them. We all have those moments at some point in our jobs. Like it just is what it is. When it comes to those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, this week I would be mindful of what you commit to, because you may be biting off more than you can chew, especially because you've got that devil card infusing the whole week. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, in fact for all Taurians, but especially for those of you that are retired, you might find this week that that sleep is a little bit erratic and or elusive. Now we've got that powerful full moon taking place in the sign of Aries, which if you're an ascendant Taurus especially, to a lesser degree the sun and the moon, but if you're an ascendant Taurus, that full moon's going to kick your butt. Why? Because it's a full moon in the 12th house. Anything that happens in our 12th house is always a challenge to us. Why? Because it puts a spotlight on our past, the things that are hidden, the things that we can't see, hidden enemies, but it's also our sleep, our rest, our recuperation. And a full moon, you know, there in general is going to be challenging. You add to the fact that the moon is then in Aries, this could have a bit of an eruptive or a disruptive kind of energy about it. So just keep that in mind this week. All right, for your love and relations, you have the Empress card. So this is actually your card, right? Because this is the Empress, is Lady Venus. It's right underneath the Nine of Cups, which tells me that your relationship, your partnerships, your interpersonal connections, this is your saving grace. That is where your sanctuary is this week, right? So for those of you that are partnered or married, it's going to be your partner and or your family and your familial ties that will come through for you. It absolutely could be that. For those of you that are single, I got to be honest with you, maybe this isn't necessarily the best week to be opening yourself up to somebody new, just because there seems to be a lot going on for you on a deep sort of personal level. And so adding somebody else to the mix now could be quite sort of, you know, it could be a lot. All right, for your money and materials, you have the Moon card. So the Devil, the Moon, and the Nine of Swords, that can be really heavy depression. And I touch wood on this. I don't want to tell anybody like, oh, you're going to be depressed this week, because just telling somebody that they're going to be depressed can really freak them out. However, I do need to look at the signature of cards that's been pulled. Something that is communicated to you this week, something that you're maybe not necessarily seeing in the clearest way. This may be because of a low mood. It may be because you're already in a space of beating yourself up about something. I just want you, the Moon card, let's start there before I go on a whole tirade. The Moon card in your money and materials underneath the Nine of Swords does suggest that there is some financial move or plan that you're putting into practice that you're not quite seeing all the details of as yet. So the only thing that I will say to you is, it's not a no, it's just to slow down and take your time. Don't rush it, all right? Because the chances are you're not seeing something clearly as yet. Now, with these cards, all three combined, like I said, that can be a very heavy energy. And so this week, I want you to be really gentle with yourself. I want you to really look after yourself in the best way that you possibly can. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, the waters of your body is the moon, but also your feet and ankles. This is not a week to rush around, right? So when I say rush around, the chances are you end up stubbing your toe, or maybe you twist an ankle, or you do your knee or whatever. Again, touch wood, I hope that I'm wrong on this. It is because the Moon card is Pisces ruled. So this is going to be your feet, your ankles and your toes, that general area of the body. Just look out for, especially anything that you're doing at night time. Please be really careful with yourself this week. And then when it comes to your home and environment, I mean, it's the Moon card, right? So this it could suggest that something going on with the maternal side of the family, maybe with something with the women in the family, maybe with the maternal energy of the family. It's just a week where I want you to be, again, really careful and sensitive, both with yourself and with everybody else. Your full moon message this week is the gate 60 and limits, right? So we know this energy well, we all do. Why? Because we lived through it in 2020. So what this tells me is this full moon is going to highlight to you where you get in your own way. The other thing as well, interestingly enough, that I mentioned this, The 12th house, where this moon is going to be taking place for you as a Taurus ascendant, to a lesser degree the sun and the moon. So when I say to a lesser degree the sun and the moon, it means this energy is still going to play out in that way, but maybe not as pertinent. Or even maybe not as immediate. But with that 12th house activation, the 12th house is also self-sabotaging tendencies. I've just remembered that. So remember what I said to you about the Devil card in the beginning. This full moon could really highlight to you where you're getting in your own way and what you could do about it. And the beauty of that realization is, once you see it, you can't unsee it. All right, so this is great. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have as conscious a week as possible. Look after yourself, be good to yourself, be kind to yourself, and let others do that for you as well. With that said, take care, and I'll see you soon.